Medical Center, and a little earlier we were in the neighborhood that is just behind the Moore Medical Center here, just to the west of it. Spoke with several people, as you said, that rode out this storm in storm shelters, but that had to actually physically hold down the door to their storm shelters as this storm was roaring over, because it was just absolutely so powerful. Now, of course, we've been talking a lot about Plaza Towers Elementary School. That is one of the main focuses out here today. This neighborhood that we were in here off of 6th Street over here in Moore, several of those families were waiting to hear about children at Plaza Towers Elementary. We actually spoke with one woman who went to pick up her daughter at 3 o'clock today. She got her from the school. She was carrying her through the neighborhood. And then we spoke with another grandmother who said she has an autistic granddaughter at the school, and they still had not heard anything. Here's what those two women had to say.
Just into the office, they were in the hallways, heads down, I mean, doing everything that they knew to do. But, yeah, her best friend's still there.
And the kids were locked down. They went to get them, and the doors were locked, so we couldn't. And we're having a hard time finding transportation to get to school, so we don't know.
And you can just hear the fear in that grandmother's voice as she said they don't know. She said they went to try to get their child from the school, but that the school doors were locked. And you heard that other mom saying they were doing everything like they should. They were doing everything like they practice in those tornado drills, and just basically doing everything they could to keep those children safe. So, of course, it's going to be a long night out here tonight, and we will be out here continuing to monitor the situation. Guys, back to you.
I'm kind of wondering, Linda, about the medical center itself and any injuries there.
I don't know about that. I do know that the Moore Medical Center is a general and medical surgical area. They have 100 physicians on staff, 24-hour emergency room, but we haven't heard anything about injuries that may have taken place in there, or if they had patients in beds, what happened to them. All we know is that it is among the businesses and buildings devastated in Moore.
Speaking of hospitals, let's go now to Kelly Wells. Kelly's with Norman Regional. Kelly, what can you tell us? What kind of patients are you seeing? How many? The different kinds of injuries, and how are they doing?
And you've got a patient find hotline. You're trying to organize that. Is that right?
We are. The patient care hotline, we're asking families to call if they're worried about or looking for their loved ones, and that number is 405-307-1366. We have several people answering the telephone there, but we're asking people to be patient. If the phone lines are busy, we're taking phone calls, as you can imagine, just one after another. And I can tell you that Moore Medical Center is part of Norman Regional Health System, and we did have patients in the facility whenever it took a direct hit, and luckily we're able to let you know that the 30 patients that were there, along with all of the staff that were there, have been accounted for.
Okay, that answers that question. Okay.
Those that were being treated there at the time for just normal hospital stays, it is an acute care facility, were either transferred to the Norman Regional Porter campus or the Healthplex Hospital, which is located at I-35 in Tecumseh. And as far as we know, I think 13 of those people have been here. Others are maybe still making their way. As you can imagine, the debris is significant, and it's been a challenge to get people to the facilities and get them out of the damage path. As far as our other hospitals, we're seeing multiple people who've come into the Porter campus as well as the Healthplex campus who we're calling walking wounded, about 30 patients at both facilities. So we've seen about 60 patients, and then not including the 30 that were at Moore.
Let me ask you, Kelly, how is this going to work? We have a lot of people looking for loved ones, and if they call your 307-1366 number, that will only give them information about your facilities. Is that right?
Correct. And the facilities that will cover are Norman Regional Hospital, located on Porter, as well as Norman Regional Healthplex Hospital, located at I-35 in Tecumseh.
And are you getting the majority of patients? Are you the #1 hospital in the area in terms of?
Oh, I don't know. I would imagine that other hospitals are inundated as well. You know, you can tell from all the pictures that you're seeing on TV that you guys are showing. It's a significant area, and I would imagine that many local hospitals are seeing what we're seeing as well. Kelly,
you may not know this, but you may. I know that they were looking for the parents of Kaylee Hawkins at the hospital. Do you know if the little girl and her parents have been reunited, or another family?
We got a phone call from a family friend, and she says that both the mom and dad are doing fine, and they are stuck in traffic, trying as hard as they can to get to the Healthplex. we have her phone number, and it's been challenging to get them in touch, but we are trying to get them at least in touch through cell phone communication.
Okay, well, that's good news.
Yeah. But again, I would like to pass that number. Make sure you guys can share that throughout the night. That it's 405-307-1366.
All right, and thank you for what you do, and let us know if there's any way that we can help or pass along additional information. So the good news is one of the 9-year-old victims who was in a hospital and needing her parents has apparently, there have been steps made closer to getting her there. But we have another
It's
patient.
right here.
I'm looking for that. St. Anthony Health
Right,
East.
Jose and Sandra Rodriguez, they're looking for those folks because they have a 9-year-old female there that they believe is their daughter.
And so we want to reunite that daughter with her parents as quickly
St. Anthony
as possible. So give them a call at St. Anthony Health East. If you know of where her parents are, or if you are her parents, call them immediately.
You continue to see aerials from Bob Moore Chopper 4. John Welsh is going to stay up as long as his fuel holds out and as long as the sunlight holds out as well. And John, give us your perspective at this point, my friend.
Yeah, Kevin, just as night falls and as the sun starts to set and we're coming into night, the sun is throwing some pretty good is throwing some pretty good shadows. And if I'm going to have Travis back out and pan to the left, and you're going to see a couple ponds. It's going to be just behind where the old KRXO radio station used to be. Look at that. I mean, that's what, just that area right there. I don't want to get too far off, but you just kind of see the mud, the destruction, the lack of grass that everybody else has. There's a trail that looks like that from here, goes straight west all the way towards I-44, and everything in its path is gone. As the sun sets, it kind of throws us some shadows, and when we look back towards the east, you can really see just the damage that this storm took. And the way it went, there's not a good way to come through here if you're a tornado, because like we talked about earlier in '99, there was fields that it got to hit that weren't populated. So obviously it's tearing up landscape, but it's not affecting anybody's livelihood. Well, here all these fields are now housing additions, and it almost like it didn't miss any. It just came right through here. The Moore, and then the Warren Theater rather, and then it just continued on towards Draper. And as the sun is setting, it's just becoming an incredible sight here at Mother Nature's fury, and it just the sheer devastation, loss of life, loss of property. My heart goes out to these people. I live here. This is my hometown. So I see people on the ground that I might see at Walmart or at the neighborhood market or wherever. So coming, from up here from a reporting standpoint is kind of emotional at times. And just to see the sheer devastation that this storm has taken and the damage that it's done, Kevin.
And what strikes me, John, is that so many families are displaced. 10,000 were displaced. 10,000 people were displaced in 1999, and this storm is much worse. We need to find these people someplace to stay, and quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if my house was hit. I don't know where I would go. I mean, I guess I would rent a hotel room somewhere, but I'm sure they're filling up now. Or sleep in my office at the news station. I don't know. You might have some kids running around there already. But the devastation. Where do you go? And we've seen several people, like Allie talked about, and there's more that are just continuing to get on the streets and just walk. They've got, the sad thing is they're definitely dirty. They're all covered in mud. They're wet, and most of them are carrying, a small child. They have what teddy bear the child wanted to hang on to, and they're headed north to I don't know where they're going, but they obviously they don't know where they're going either. They just know that they can't stay here. We do know that OHP is, I believe they're fixing to put some lights on their helicopter to help the areas night falls. And another thing they're concerned about is looting, like Kevin talked about earlier. I hope it doesn't happen. I don't think it'll happen, but they're prepared for it as well. I know the raid unit that I'm a part of there, the National Guard unit, they've been placed on standby. We just got a couple brand new aircraft that have a Westcam FLIR infrared camera, so possibly they might help in the search effort tonight. We'll get to a point which we call thermal crossover, when the air temperature is the same as the ground temperature, and you won't be able to see with your IR camera, but once you pass that lapse period, an IR camera is going to give you way more than any HD camera can give you, because it picks up heat signatures in the ground. And so what they'll be able to do is, if they do use that resource, they'll be able to pick you know, hot spots in the area, and they could even watch for looters if need be, or they can watch for some, you know, help try and find some people that might be trapped in some of this rubble here, Linda.
John, what is incredible, but what really puts this in perspective, is for the past minute and 32 seconds, you have been moving over the path of the storm. And it took that long for a chopper to go by. So you can imagine, as we look at closer shots that you're giving us right now, this is just, it's 20 miles of just destruction.
It is. It's 20 miles of debris. It's 20 miles of homes that aren't there, that are sticks, trees that aren't there, grass that's not there. Some of these ponds are dry, waters that's not there. I mean, this is a terrible natural disaster that resembles a war zone. You know, we talked about yesterday with the trailer park that hit there just south of the Fire Lake Grand Casino.
Right.
And we talked about a bulldozer that went over it. Well, this is worse than a bulldozer. You know, and last night when we were on the set, we talked about a grinder. This is worse than a grinder. I mean, this is complete destruction, and the only thing they're going to be able to do is get a bulldozer, bulldoze it all up, and start over from scratch. And I hope that most of these people will do, and they will. You know, Oklahoma is a great place to live, even though we have disasters like this. But as you can see, I mean, there's nothing. In a lot of these homes, you can see right there as Travis pans around, they're looking for whatever they can find, memorabilia. I've seen a couple people that had some books, probably some Bibles, you know, that they picked out of the rubble there.
And John, it would be almost hard to find your home if you go down that street and there's no recognizable landmark.
It would be, you know. I mean, you would almost have to count either your sidewalk numbers or know, hey, I'm the fifth house on the right.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be definitely, you know, yeah, it would be very hard to count. I just got a text from a buddy of mine, Chase Rutledge, who's flying for the Guard tonight. They just got called in, so they should have a couple other aircraft up here tonight assisting in the efforts from the Oklahoma Guard there at the Will Rogers unit. So they're going to have a camera up here shortly that'll should pick up some IR and definitely give us some temperature images, so that maybe during the rescue efforts they could expedite the process a little bit. But again, you know, if you're looking at it from a camera standpoint like Travis is now, let's say you find a couple hot spots, just telling the people on the ground where it is going to be very, very hard. Luckily, they have a 50 million candle power light that they could shine on it and kind of help out a little bit. But it's going to be a long night for everybody here. Linda,
on one of your previous shots, John, you showed a man, you and Travis, photojournalist Travis Shutton, showed a man running down the street. All of these people have such incredible stories to tell, some of survival, some of tragedy, some of simply trying to survive what will likely go down as one of the most devastating tornadoes in history.
Well, exactly. You know, I think that what they say, like 1.2 billion or 1.8 billion was the last storm.
No, May 3rd.
The May 3rd, 99. Mm-hmm. And so this one's, in my opinion, and is going to be way more than that. Just the fact that building everything's exponentially increased as far as the building products and everything else, but just the sheer devastation in the populated areas that it hit. So, I mean, you just kind of feel for these people. And you see those guys right there. They have backpacks and everything that they own, some of them on bicycles. They're just headed up north, hopefully to find refuge for the night. And hopefully we can get some shelter set up. I know that we talked about earlier, OU is going to allow some people to get in. But, you know, I mean, just think about this from your standpoint. Your home is gone. Where do you go? If you don't have any loved ones, I personally don't have any family members that live in Oklahoma City area. Luckily, I have friends that would allow us to stay there. But I try and always think about it from my perspective. What if this happened to me? How devastating could that be? And on top of the fact that, you know, hey, you're just displaced for the night, but you potentially lost everything. And some of these people lost loved ones in this, guys.
Absolutely.
And the logistics of it. I mean, you're showing people walking down the street. Chances are, if they had a car, it's no longer in their yard, or if it is, it's under debris. So when they walk to the perimeter where traffic is allowed, because traffic is not being allowed into this 30 square mile area, then where do they go?
God bless their hearts, they're refugees right now.
Yeah, they're just out. You know, they're out on a limb, and hopefully they can find a place to stay. Hopefully they'll set something up with the Red Cross, or maybe even you know, the Warren Theaters right here. Maybe they could even open up the lobby and allow people just to spend the night in there.
Well, I'm sure
Mike talked about earlier. One of the things that's going to happen is there's a potential for some rain tomorrow. Yeah. So think about this: you're displaced, you got some kiddos, and it starts raining on you. Now where do you go? So these people are going to be in for a long road for the next couple of days until we can get everything, an emergency set up, established for them. And it's going to be a long 6 to 9 months rebuilding these homes, Kevin.
Absolutely. John, thank you very much. We'll come back to you before the daylight wanes, and we appreciate you very much. If you're just now joining us, we're coming up on the 8 o'clock hour. We have confirmed, and Mike may be able to update this, but 37 unfortunately have died. 7 little ones confirmed at a school in Moore. There may be as many as 30 more young children that may have perished in there. 37 confirmed deaths so
Mike,
far.
When you watched this storm develop on radar, you had a sense of what a monster it was.
Yes, because it did develop very, very quickly, Linda, and we knew sometimes, all the jet stream was right over Oklahoma City. We were near the northern edge of the high risk that we had issued. And when you're on the northern edge of the high risk, the further north you go, the stronger the jet stream winds are, because the jet stream this time of year starts to lift north. So when you're closer northbound underneath the higher level jet stream winds up here on the northern edge of this entire outbreak, like this storm was, you could tell that it was going to be ramping up extremely quickly and went from 0 to an F5 in 1 hour's worth of time. I have Chopper 4 aerials burned in my mind from May 3rd, 1999, and I would still say this is about 3 times more extensive, and it was $1.2 billion in 1999 dollars. This one's about 3 times as extensive. It damaged a lot more of the very heavily populated and infrastructure-wise portions of Moore. And of course, that is from Bob Moore Chopper 4 right there from John Welsh. The debris ball at one point was 2.25 miles wide. The core of the tornado was closer to a mile to a mile and a quarter wide. But, you know, the whole tornado is also that debris ball, because those are winds that are keeping that debris up in the air. So it is fair to say that it was a 2.25 mile wide tornado at its widest point. But just given the fact that the whole F5 part of it is not 2.25 miles wide, just to be very scientifically clear about that, not that that makes any difference now. We're looking at the aftermath. And with the 37 fatalities, today's tornado is officially more deadly than the May 3rd, 1999 tornado. So let's go ahead and take a look at ongoing severe weather. We still have some out there, although most of this is out of the Kfor viewing area, but it is an uneasy night in southeastern Oklahoma. We've got tornado warnings for Atoka County and tornado warning for Sequoia County. The Moore tornado storm now is up in Benton County, Arkansas. Let's go to the storm tracker. There's still no rain approaching Moore. It is dry, but here's a broad view showing the extent of the outbreak of severe weather and where it is now, running from west-northwest of Fort Worth to south and east of Ardmore to just southeast of McAllister. You folks in McAllister are safe and you're fine. It is going to go to your south and east, and it's already heading that way. And then northwest Arkansas has a cluster of tornadic supercells right now. That is the Moore storm moving past Bentonville. It's over Beaver Lake, Arkansas right now, heading for Branson, Missouri. And they're finding debris from Moore all the way up into this part of the country that is still falling from the sky right now. So Kevin and Linda, the data does show there may be a shield of rain trying to come in at about sunrise. We do get new data with the computer models in about an hour, and as soon as I see that, I'll update you on that rain chance for the rescue and recovery efforts down in Moore.
Mike, we appreciate you very much. Of course, if you're in this tornado or if you have loved ones who've been affected by it, the first thing you want to do is connect with them and know that they're okay. A website has been set up to help you do that. It's Safe and Well, because there have been 37 confirmed deaths. Safe and Well is the website. You spell it out, SAFEANDWELL.org. And when you go there, you'll have a choice of either registering yourself as Safe and Well, or you can search for loved ones. Either way, it's a great boost to those who are desperately looking for those they love tonight and having no way of getting in touch. Cell phone service in the devastated area is spotty at best. Landlines are not working at all in that area because they simply were destroyed. And so if you're trying to find somebody, perhaps this is the best way to do it for now until you're able to make direct contact perhaps tomorrow. It's
a great resource. Let's go back out to our man on the ground, one of many, Lance West, who of course was keeping us updated on the tragedy that was going on and is still ongoing for many families there in the Moore area at Plaza Towers Elementary School. Lance.
Good evening, Kevin and Linda. The feeling here has gone from that gut-wrenching heartache several hours ago to sort of a numbness right now. Folks here are rolling up their sleeves and getting to work. We're seeing a lot of folks with suitcases and sleeping bags, pillowcases, things like that, stuffing any personal belongings they can salvage and then heading back out of here. They've probably got just maybe 20 or 30 more minutes of daylight before they probably cordon off the area and kick most people out. We don't want to see any loitering or things like that. Hopefully that's not going to happen. We have been here all day long in front of this elementary school. In fact, we followed an EMSA ambulance in, lights and sirens flashing. So we arrived here just as the emergency personnel were coming in. And let me just tell you, as a reporter, I've never seen anything like what I saw here this afternoon. We may have some video. We can show that to you, what we saw when we arrived here. There were just dozens of people on the school, and I say on it because it's completely flat and it's just a big pile of rubble. And essentially they were doing everything they could, frantically searching for any survivors in that debris. That is the elementary school, and it was our understanding that some of the older kids, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, had been evacuated and taken to a church down the street. But there were some other classes that were hunkered down inside, kind of in a safe room in a hallway, and unfortunately, with this powerful tornado that came through this afternoon, the school was not able to stand up to those forces of nature. It was absolutely destructive. When we got here, and we have not seen any since, when we arrived, we saw a little boy who was rescued along with one school teacher. Those are the only 2 survivors we saw pulled from the debris, and that was earlier today. A little Asian-American boy, probably 8 or 9 years old, and a teacher. She was on a stretcher, and she was pulled out of here, taken away in a 4-wheeled Jeep. Some Good Samaritans who whisked her away to a nearby hospital. I can tell you, though, there are lots of stories of heroics out here. They may not have found a lot of victims alive, but not for a lack of looking. In fact, I talked to one school teacher and another volunteer. Here's what they had to say about search efforts earlier today.
I was on top of 6 kids.
On top of 6 children?
I was lying on top of them.
And they're all okay?
All mine are okay.
They pulled a little boy out. Looked like he was probably about a 2nd or 3rd grader. Bumps and scrapes. Didn't look too worse for the wear. And then an adult that they pulled out who just had some bumps and bruises and was pretty shaken up. But that's all I've seen come out at this point.
And you did hear from that school teacher. All I know is that her name is Rhonda. She teaches 6th grade students. She hunkered down in a bathroom with a half dozen kids. As you heard, she got on top of them. They all got out alive. Certainly nothing short of a heroic effort on her part. And a lot of the other kids, parents and teachers, again, at a church, a staging area on the other side of all this debris. We've not been able to wind down there. Right now it is a recovery effort. They've got jackhammers going. They brought the lights in, and one official out here told me that they're going to search as long as they can to make sure they get everybody out tonight.
And Lance, just to update the grim figures from there, 7 little ones are confirmed, 20 to 30 others may be still in there, but they believe they have perished in there, those that are still there.
Yeah, that's correct. We have confirmation of 7 children. They were found in the bottom of the school. They unfortunately drowned. The school filled up with water, and there were 20 to 30 kids that they could not reach because the debris obviously was so thick. They were using jackhammers to get to that lower level of the school. We do know, I believe they're getting closer because about 15 minutes ago I saw that they were heaving small desks from that pile of debris one at a time, which leads me to believe that they've reached the classroom where those kids may have been taking refuge from the tornado.
All right,
Lance, let me ask you this. You've done an incredible job of reporting there from the scene. There's another elementary school, Briarwood, that John Welsh is showing us from the air that has a similar operation going on there. Have you heard any reports of what may be going on at Briarwood?
I'm sorry, Linda, we haven't heard anything from that school over there. It appears from our location that most of the search and recovery efforts are right here. But again, that's probably a mile or 2 in that direction. And unfortunately, with all the debris and the danger to get that way, we've not been able to wind and weave our way over there. But we'll do what we can to get more information for you. But right now, information is very limited. Wait, I'm hearing, what's that?
That school's been hit worse.
Okay, I'm hearing from some homeowners here. They say that school has been hit worse than this, but we don't know as far as casualties in that school. And again, I can't speak from a bird's eye view. I've not seen it, but from what I'm hearing out here, it was also in the direct path of this tornado.
Well, we were able to see it from